Now, a do loop, I like to think of it as the dinner guest that wouldn't leave. You have to tell the do loop to leave and to end at some point. The do loop, of course, will process statements continuously. And like I said, you have to tell us to exit and to force the leave. And then you have to have the end do to exit the loop in order for the script to run. We're going to take a look at one of these. Now, depending upon, I'm not sure if everyone has the same example to want to process something repetitively, so I kind of made just a generic example, because what we're learning here is the concept here. And one time, I know times when we have used this is if someone wants to check to see if there's a file out on the IFS, and they don't know what time of day that file is going to hit the IFS, but we need to go out there, check, and then once the file is there, we've got to do something. Maybe we have to pick it up in email. And so one way to utilize a do loop with an if statement like this is to say, okay, check on the IFS. If the file is there, then go and email it. Otherwise, do a delay job type of request. What makes this example so interesting is that we have two different types of variables. We have the kind of variable you're all probably familiar with, and a prompted script variable, and that's our ampersand NBR. And that's the variable that you define on the variable tab of the script. And this for us is going to define how many times do we want to loop. We could have hard-coded that, but we're going to ask the user at runtime. The other type of variable is an internal script variable, and that's our ampersand CNT, our count. The reason why that's internal is you won't see it on the variable tab if you're in the script designer. The user will not see a prompt for ampersand CNT when they go to run this request. This variable is defined very similarly the way you would in a CL program by doing a declare. And that's what line 1 does, is it declares the internal variable inside of the script. And it's just a decimal 3, 0. We only expect some kind of number, an incremental count to happen. And then we use that variable, that ampersand count, later on in the script, and we actually change its value there on line 6. What we're doing is the user is providing a value for ampersand number. And let's just say they said 10. I want to run this thing 10 times. We do a comparison to make sure our counter that keeps track of how many times we've run this is less than 10. The moment it becomes over 10, we end up doing something else. So taking this kind of from the top, we declare our variable, then we start our do loop. And on line 3, when I say do something here, that's the command that you want us to repeat running. Then we have our if condition that says, okay, is our counter, how many times we've done this request, less than how many times we want to do this request, the number provided from the user. If it is, we do some type of work, we do something. Then we increment the counter on the change of our command. And we're just incrementing it by 1. And the reason why we don't need to have quotes all over the place around these variables is because they're numbers. They're not character strings like in the previous example. When we finally run this thing, 10 times, we get to the point where line 4 is not going to be true anymore, where the count is going to be more than the number of times we want to run this. And that's where we drop out of the if and we go to the line 7, which is the else. And then we go down to line 8 because else, if it's not true, we want to leave. And not only do we want to leave at line 9, we want to end the if. And not only do we want to end the if, we want to end the do at line 10. And each of those are separate commands available inside the script within SQL. Hopefully that mouthful made sense. I feel like I went through these examples pretty quickly. And the good thing I can tell you is all of these examples, believe it or not, exist in the SQLEX library that installs on your system. And if you wanted to go out and look at these examples or even save yourself some typing and kind of borrow from those examples, you're free to do that.